Alright, so I've played a game recently called Atom RPG Trudograd. I'll say that I'm a big fan of turn-based RPGs. Also, this game hits really close to home, so I'm very biased. Anyway, I recommend this title. It's shorter, or at least feels shorter than the original. Trudograd doesn't have too much going for it. The choices are pretty shallow, the side quests frequently boil down to going somewhere and either passing a skill check or killing somebody, and the combat itself is not great. But I like to depress an atmosphere of world and the writing. If you're looking for a mechanical masterpiece with deep role-playing elements and an intricate character customization system, you'll never find it here. But if you want another CRPG with USSR post-apocalyptic flair, then you'll be at home. What is it about? Well, like I said, it's post-apocalypse in USSR. I have no idea where it's set, as all the names of places are made up. At least the ones which appear, but there are some real cities mentioned sometimes. Anyway, after the last game it's revealed that an asteroid is coming to hit Earth, which is what the main villain was trying to prevent. In this game a player is tasked with finding a secret railgun which might be able to shoot it down. Of course it's not as simple as just looking through some ruins though. What did I like? Like I said, it's obviously made by someone of Slavic descent. And sadly, due to war in Ukraine caused by micro-penis dictator, the developers don't seem to be developing much anymore. However, the world of this game seriously hits close to home, as it definitely looks like what could happen and what countries from former Soviet bloc would look like. The buildings look exactly like some I've seen, the people look like slightly altered photographs of people I know, and stories are so depressing and real that I can see something like this happening even now. Random kids forced to become drug dealers because there's no money anywhere. Prostitutes who are so desperate that they lament the passing of their abusive pimp, with nowhere else to go now. Serial killers roaming the countryside, hiding in plain sight. Of course there are also mutants and cultists in the game, but they had to make at least something not 100% realistic, I suppose. Just as that this is a depressing world done in a style which seems natural to people who were born in Eastern Europe. It really resonates deeply with me. And there are a handful of stories in this game which I really enjoyed. Like for example, and I'm spoiling here but it's a minor side quest, so who cares. At one point there's a young man with an overprotective mother who refuses to let him become a driver, despite the instructor praising his skills. As it turns out, kid was put down his entire life, so when someone actually said something positive, they radiated enthusiasm. Basically, the teacher was throwing the guy a bone. Player can persuade the teacher to hire the kid and talk down the crazy mom. Now, you'd think it ends happily ever after. But no. This is Russia, after all, and the kid gets into an accident. He gets into an entirely stupid accident and wrecks a truck. Now mom is justified in her bullshit, the kid is terrified and depressed, and the trucker slash driving instructor slash employer is now over 10,000 rubles down. Of course the kid is fired. That's the kind of story you're dealing with here. One step beyond, which throws another gut punch. I'd especially recommend not passing random events. Most of them are just random fighting random mobs, but some of them have minor stories, and boy are those stories something. In short, disgusting, sad, and sometimes funny. What did I dislike? The game was handcrafted, but it seems like it was done by lazy people. I'm probably sounding confusing, but hear me out. So in these kinds of games, the player is presented with a ton of containers, and of course anyone reasonable would look through them. So first of all, that's a click, then a bit of animation, and then a window pops up with either nothing in it or some loot, which is 90% of the time useless, and then another click to close it. Close it. If they weren't lazy, they'd add bullets, money, or at least some stale crackers. All of those have uses. Instead there are a ton of wires, metal waste and logs, and there are like 5 containers per room. Most of them empty. So after a while I just stopped checking most of them. It was a waste of time. It's not like I can farm them for cash or something, it's just purely wasted more time. I very much dislike that, because there's always 1 or 2 items per level which might be needed later. Or it's an upgrade, or some good weapon, and you gotta keep scavenging through garbage to find those. It's realistic, sure, but annoying as hell. Second is the combat. I maxed my stats with cheat engine, as well as add infinite money. I got the max suit really early on into the game, fully upgraded it too, and I almost died a bunch of times. I almost counted 5, I think. If I was playing fair, I imagined myself swearing up and down, and the problem is that most of the fights truly are easy. But sometimes enemy gets a lucky crit and poof, down you go. Despite the buffs, the equipment, maxed out dodged, whatever, crit, poof, gone. Annoying as hell, and I recommend cheating. You want in-depth turn-based combat, play Divinity 2 or something like that, or maybe Shadowrun. They're just much better balanced. Third is some of the story. I frequently did something and was confronted by bandits. And let me remind you, I was in a mech suit. So I just strolled around, minded my own business, weighing like 300 kilograms of muscle and metal. And then these 3 scrawny losers threatened me. I would have liked it if they at least joked about it, or acknowledged that I can punch their heads off their shoulders without breaking a sweat. But nope, nothing. This happens way too often. Another thing is that the story doesn't take itself seriously, but at the same time, kinda does. It feels very inconsistent when you can joke around breaking the 4th wall and have some random grannies figure out you're a secret agent, only to have a few more missions done and then to have borderline apocalypse happen. I suppose there's also a bit too much running around on annoying errands. I guess every RPG has that, so this isn't much of a complaint, I guess. I just wanted the game to acknowledge that I'm a giant mech man-killing machine a bit more. So the end result is a weird, janky mess, which I can't help but like. I'll only add that the Russian accent in the cinematics made me cringe so hard I got a stomachache. So I'd advise skipping those.